All right. Welcome back, all you loyal listeners, to another episode of the Point 3 Podcast, Season 3, Episode 2. It is another fantastic Wednesday, and we are thrilled to have you all back once again. If you're watching this live, we appreciate you. If you're listening to this on our podcast, happy to have you back again. Listen, we have a lot to talk about. We made it sound very simple when we were prepping for this. There is a lot of juicy content for us to talk about in the superhero world. I am Lou. This is Spider Brando. We are missing our third host, Hero. He will be back next week, so you can listen to his delicious voice then. But today, you got the dynamic duo, and we are going to be taking you through the three things that we always talk about: what we've been watching, what we've been reading, and what we've been nerding out about. And then we're going to go into a juicy recap of Daredevil Season 3, Episode 3. Oh, still shook from the ending of that. And then we're going to be talking about the MCU. Shocker, Point 3 Podcast. We always talk about the MCU. It never stops. So if you're like, Greg, what are you talking? I mean, Lou, what are you talking about? I just exposed myself, dude, on like digital forever. I'll know. What is wrong with me? Well, fans of the Point 3 Podcast, now you know. But yeah, guess what? We're talking about the MCU. We always talk about the MCU. And where, Spider Brando, do we always happen to talk about the MCU?
In our Discord. My browser isn't working to pull up the banner or any banners right now, but it's always in our bio. So you know where to find the link. Always posting it on social medias, doing watch parties. So follow us on socials as well. And we're always yapping about good stuff. Discord eats first.
Always in real time. Like sometimes before it actually happens, you're like, wait, what? And it's just like, what?
I'm like,
it's crazy.
I didn't even know that was happening, and then boom, it happened.
Yeah. So if you're on YouTube watching us and you want to hear from us or you want to yap with us, drop a comment. Let us know. Let us know that you joined the Discord. We want to see a comment for all of you who are in the chat who are not A, subscribe, but B, in our Discord. Meet us there, chat with Point 3 Podcast. But let's get into it. Let's not let the people wait any longer. Spider Brando, what is it that you have been watching this week?
Or reading. Actually.
Reading, my fault. We're doing reading.
I'm always doing watching. I got to read and finish Superman by Grant Morrison.
Oh,
Camera flash was not doing too well right there. And this was a very good run. It's my second Superman series that I read through, where I did All-Star Superman first, and then Superman by Grant Morrison. I really like it. I think James Gunn and DCU is cooking with how they're going to portray Superman. A lot of the trailer kind of like spoke to me as I was reading these stories and how he kind of interacted with other DC characters in this book. And I'm like, oh, this seems cool to what we're going to be at least marketed like at the moment.
Yeah.
And it had a lot of really cool panels in here that I'm like, damn, like that really is Superman-esque. There's one scene where he was talking to the Justice League and they were kind of like, oh, we should stay out of this. And like just calling out all of them for like why aren't we helping? And I'm like, damn, that is legit awesome to see and experience. So I picked up a couple other Superman comics in the meantime for all seasons. And Kingdom Come. Not the cool cover. Where this one is a cool cover.
That is pretty sweet.
I got super inspired after that, and World's Finest.
Boom.
Which goes hard.
We
are nerding out. Well, not nerding out, but
we're nerding. We're
watching, reading, and nerding out about Superman. Because I also watched Superman 2 the other day too.
Yeah.
So
I feel like this
all three right now.
Dude, honestly, and like
watching, reading, nerding out.
Subtly, we're still on this road to Superman's. Like individually, we're all kind of doing our own like research or catching up or reading or research, whatever you want to talk about. So soon we're going to have some more Road to Superman stuff coming as we get closer to the summertime and Spider Brando's birthday. So definitely stay tuned with the Point 3 Podcast, but keep watching. This is going to tie into our nerding out piece. And well, I'll touch on a little bit, but if you've been in Discord, you know that there's something about Invincible that has been irking me a little bit. But the internet has been irked about the animation of Invincible. So I went down a rabbit hole on Reddit, and a user on Reddit was like, "Hey, go watch Pantheon on Netflix." And I was like, "What? What show is this? Is this like an anime? What are we looking at?" Um, it feels very like it looks kind of like Invincible. I don't want to give anything away, but I will just say I'm very intrigued and interested. But someone who said if you're not vibing with Invincible's look, the story and the feel right now for the last 2 seasons, go watch Pantheon. So I started that. It's kind of like my nighttime show. SB, have you ever read that or read it? Have you ever watched it or heard of it?
I feel like I've seen it on like a Netflix banner when I
Yeah.
been on Netflix before, and I've probably watched the trailer on Twitter or X. And I don't know. I don't remember much about like how I felt regarding it,
Yeah.
but I think I was pretty interested by it. I just never got around to it.
Yeah. AMC animation show. So I was like, what? I've never really explored
Really?
that before. Yeah. But whenever I see AMC stuff, I'm like, okay, so we're definitely gonna get a story here and some
Mm-hmm.
substance. So that's been my keep watching. So I might do a little recap when I finish season 1. I don't know if it's gonna be on socials or another keep watching part of this, but I'm interested to go back to that Reddit post to see why people are comparing the shows. I
Yeah,
stopped
no,
reading it.
I'm excited to
So
hear your
yeah.
thoughts. I might have
Yeah.
to check it out too.
Yeah.
I got so much to catch up on though
Yeah,
with
bro. Your backlog's
animation.
disgusting. Like
It's
that's just out
insane.
the door.
The anime backlog is crazy on
Oh
itself.
my gosh. Have you watched Solo Leveling at any point?
No, I know. I've heard it's so good.
My profile pic, whatever we want to call it on Discord, I can't even think.
Well, solo level one, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so good. It's so good. But let's nerd out a little bit about Invincible. We
Yes.
are hours away from the season finale.
Damn. Now that's actually crazy to think about. I was thinking. I completely forgot for a second, just because of how crazy today is. That tomorrow is the season finale.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right. They have so much to wrap up in one episode.
Dude, I'm nervous. Man,
I
I'm
am
nervous.
too. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But I feel like just because I know that there's so much loose ends to wrap up and how much more of the story we have to go through, I'm not expecting them to wrap anything up. But it's just like, what are they going to leave us on a cliffhanger with?
Okay. Spoilers. Spoiler warning. We'll go with a 2-minute spoiler conversation. So come back in 10 minutes.
10:30, not
10:30.
PM. 10.
Yeah, not PM. Yeah, time wise. In the video timestamp. All right. So I've been super vocal on this. I'm just like, I'm not enjoying Mark as the main character. Did you feel that this was like the Invincible War? Did you feel like they went through a war?
Not like a war, but I definitely felt the emotion throughout the episode and everything. But I don't know. By the end of it, I'm like, damn, that was just one episode. And like what do you
Right?
mean war? Like that is more like battle. I feel like
That's
battle would have been a much better
100%.
term.
100%. Because I was going through and I was like looking through stuff and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to find people who are, just glazing these episodes in the season, which again, I think it's much better than season 2. I still don't think it's better than season 1, but second place is a good place to be in sometimes. However, everyone's like, the Invincible War went so hard. And I'm like, bro, what war though? Like Mark participated for 30 seconds. Well, good Mark. But
Prime Mark.
I wonder is like, okay, there are 2 things I have to say. Just kind of a quick preview. One, again, spoilers, Conquest shows up. Is that the catalyst to get him facing the Viltrumites? 1, do you think they do that in this next episode? And 2, does Mark show more like bad guy tendencies? Because I think he's on that cusp of like, I don't want to be Omni Man, but Omni Man's not even Omni Man. Omni Man's a good guy, and like they're kind of switching roles in a way, maybe. What are your thoughts there?
I know the creator, I think Kirkman said that the blue and black suit is supposed to be like his like symbiote suit. So it's funny you got a symbiote shirt on right now. And I do kind of get those vibes that he is in his like symbiote and venom season right now. But I don't like it because the whole world and like humanity is at stake. And I just feel like
I can't leave you, Eve.
yeah, I mean, I get that you want like just in the
Bro.
thought that they would come and attack her. Because I'm actually surprised that none of the marks went to attack Eve, to be honest. Because they went after the mom and like went back to the mom's house. And you would think that in all other realities you would have a similar relationship with her. I don't know. With them all being bad, maybe not. But
I mean, dude, I think that
I did understand that a little bit, but I'm like, at the end of the day, you know that she's in a really freaking secure spot, and like get up and get out of there.
I go back and forth on that. I know we're over on a minute, so if you came back, I'm sorry, 20 seconds. But dude, I swear that because the marks never experienced what this specific mark that we know, like main mark, went through, the Eve thing didn't happen because he had to go through and experience a lot before he like got to Eve. Not saying that like those specific certain marks didn't like her, but like Eve's one probably gone. There's that futuristic Eve who kind of gave him the hint of like, hey, don't do what you did here. Like, go for it. Like, that didn't happen. So that all being said, I'm like, bro, you know Eve's gonna run towards danger. My girl got Hulk smashed. And you're like, I'm cool if those guys live. No, dude, you gotta be like Cecil, you got her? Good, I'm gone.
No,
I don't know.
I agree with that though. At the end of the day, like it's infuriating to kind of see someone with the title of invincible always getting beat down, but it's just like when is it enough? It's gonna happen to where he just goes off again. But 3 seasons in and one who has never read any of the comics, so much more I want to see, and it's really just like making me just want to straight out read or just watch all the spoilers.
All right, most anticipated character besides Mark.
Alan, 100%.
Okay, besides Alan. Alan's a given.
Is Omni-Man a given too?
No.
I want to see where Omni-Man's story goes. Okay. I know he's got to change, and he's changing, and he's gonna turn. So I'm excited to see how that all falls out. Battle Beast, I love Battle Beast as well.
Is the Alan Battle Beast spinoff something that like we didn't know we wanted? Oh, I'd watch it all day.
100% watch it. I'd buy the Funkos for it if they made Funkos. I would watch it.
One could say we would do great things for it.
Hello, Omar. Welcome in.
Omar. Season 2 recap. Watch season 3 of Invincible. Oops. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 3 most important things we do. So let us know what you all were watching this last week, what you were reading this last week, or what you were nerding out about from this last week. But let's get into one of, if not the hottest thing in the superhero world right now, and that is Daredevil Born Again. We are 3 episodes deep. We got episode 3 last night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to Spider Brando for hosting that watch party. If y'all want to nerd out with us, jump over to Discord, join the watch party. The next 6 episodes are only going to get crazier based on what we've seen so far. But SB
double feature. I think next week's a double feature too.
Is it?
Or it might be the week after. I think 4 and 5 is the double feature.
Is it? I thought the finale might have been double too, but maybe we don't have that long. I don't know. But Spider Brandon, what were your kind of general thoughts on this past episode? What did you kind of feel during it?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a classic Daredevil episode and very what's the word for it? Very thoughtful of like how they portray every action throughout that
Mhm.
episode. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to get into spoils yet for it,
That's fair.
but it's. I really enjoyed learning more about the law system a little bit too, and kind of seeing like a courtroom procedure. I'm sure a lot of it was probably just like not true or not like how an actual court would go, but I thought it was really cool, and all the arguments to see Matt make as to save someone that he knows is pretty innocent, um, and all the steps he has behind it. And it's also cool. I guess this is episode 1 and 2 spoiler. So if you haven't watched Daredevil episode 1 or 2, I don't know why you're listening to episode 3 stuff,
You get out, but come back.
but
Get out.
yeah, but having him without a certain friend be there with him to settle him down during like court scenes, or like just being there to kind of like advise him and counsel him, was pretty cool to see Matt kind of just go unhinged during court and really take stuff in his own strides.
Yeah, I mean, again, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, he feels super S tier to me throughout these first 3 episodes. And really is kind of like unrivaled. And I do have to say, I know in episode 1 and 2, again, somewhat spoilers before we get into actual spoilers. I know people are on the fence about like, does this give me Netflix vibes? And while I think that there were definitely elements of that, I feel like they found a new kind of space of kind of bringing in the old and mixing it with the new. And I think Charlie Cox just took a step forward to really feel like he's the man. Like honestly, like his screen presence is so good.
I love him. I freaking love him.
The details in the show.
Just all the mannerisms that you could see him do would to really portray like just what he's feeling inside, and like even his nervousness on how the court could go, and just him not really taking up the suit at the moment. It's just beautiful. I really like it.
Yeah. I mean, going back to that, I think we'll probably say spoiler zone. No, we good at that?
Yeah, I am good.
I really love the way that they're portraying Matt from the standpoint of who he is. Oh, no spoilers? No.
You watched episode 3, Dylan. I know you did.
We have to. This is our episode 3 Daredevil Born Again recap and reaction. So we got to do it. We're doing it live. It's happening. So I see one person maybe left, but the thing that I really like about Matt is obviously he has putting the suit aside for now. But there's 2 versions of Matt that I really like. There's like the friend Matt, the boyfriend Matt, like that human Matt that we're getting. Like the little things that you get when he's sitting with the old therapist girl in the kitchen and he's cooking, like you're having a conversation, you're sucked into it. But when you watch him, like he knows what's going on, but the way that he just like puts his hands out and she puts the cup in, he pulls out the whiskey after the court case is on, like those little things are just so cool to me that he feels like his own character. He feels like he's embodying the character. I don't lose train of thought personally, and I'm like, dude, that's terrible acting. Like you're not acting like you're blind. Again, he can see. He's like he literally is acting blind, which is so cool.
Maybe we need to show a scene of his vision to remind people again.
Yeah,
it's been a while since season 2 or 3.
We should find that. We should find it.
My computer's like frozen right now, so I can't believe I haven't.
Don't risk it all. Don't
Yeah,
risk it
like,
all.
it's legit. I can move my cursor around, but I can't click into anything.
That's
I'm actually surprised, like, it's not frozen.
no, you're good. You
Oh,
look good, sound good. But yeah, Matt's struggle on display, like you felt it in the end of episode 1 and definitely in episode 2
mhm.
of just two characters who have been established to feel like aces within their show on Fisk and Matt. You feel them building to an ultimate crescendo of where they both collide at the end of
Oh, I
this.
can't wait for it.
And
It's
it's
just
going to
every
be
stepping stone
awesome.
is beautiful.
So awesome.
They
But
really tease it so much throughout every episode, like, they just they showed the scene with, obviously, they ended the episode with a crazy bang, but before they ended it with that, when they had the Vanessa and Fisk counseling scene, and then boom, next scene is, like, the girlfriend and Matt talking to each other, and, oh, I want them to find out so bad that that's Matt's girlfriend because it's gonna be like, "Holy crap."
yeah. I mean,
I'm scared for her, though.
dude, and that's kind of my one thing that I wanted to ask you because I mean, I probably spend more time sifting through the internet to see what people's reactions are to Daredevil boarding in each episode, and of course, shocker, the reviews are mixed, which I think this is a really good show through 3 episodes. But for those that don't like it, I have to ask, in Spider Brand, I want to ask you this question: did this episode make you feel throughout from start to finish?
Dude, I was at the edge of my seat the entire episode. I felt every they panned to the jury a lot during that episode to show how they were, like, feeling and all their emotions and everything, especially during the, um when he was telling them about all the White Tiger, like, good deeds that he was doing. Um, you got to really feel exactly what the jury was feeling also, and I love that. For courtroom scene, I thought it was pretty action packed, even though there wasn't too much action, obviously. But it
But
was
even
just this just shows the good dialogue and writing behind it,
I'm okay with it.
quality.
Like, but legitimately though, like there wasn't a whole lot of Fisk in this episode, but you still got some. No Muse. You got some hints at Punisher. You got some White Tiger, but like at the end of the day, you got Matt Murdock, who again they continuously use his abilities in such a strong way. His enhanced hearing is awesome, and it's so timely, and it adds to every single scene that he uses it in. But exactly what you said, like edge of our, at home we were on the edge of our seat the whole time, but you felt like it was so relatable in so many ways, and they did extra little things to essentially like add layers to all of it. Like the whole BB report when they're like, "Oh, do you think what it's going to happen to Hector Ayala?" And they go through it from the
I
Puerto
love
Rican
that.
aspect and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Like it's dude, this is well said. Replace me as a host. Like the weight of conflict, but there's so many layers to the conflict. You have the literal court conflict, you have the police officer conflict, you have the highlight of like what is a hero, what's not a hero. The prosecutor's like, oh, the hero's one day away from being a bad guy. Of course he could throw someone in front of a train, while you got crooked cops sitting all over there the whole time, and one took the stand. It's like, okay, I guess cops can't be bad, whatever. um and then you have Matt's internal conflict, Fisk's internal conflict, then the sub characters conflict of sitting there of like Hector's wife and the guy who's helping out Matt. Like everyone has to make choices and decisions. And then Matt makes the ultimate decision in this. And he's like, I have no cards to play. My informant, the guy taking the stand, crossed me at the very end, which by the way, those were epic scenes of like the cop trying to hunt him down. And when the van got stopped by the police
I
bike,
genuinely thought I thought he was
bro,
screwed. I was like, yeah, I was watching it with, Morgan, and he was like, "Did you actually think he was gonna, like, be in that van?" I was like, "Yeah, they made it they portrayed everything, like, so well.
Yeah. To
I
like,
was scared for him. I can't
yeah,
believe he freaking didn't fully testify though.
dude, what
That
a
shocked me.
worm.
I was like, "You little wimp."
When he hesitated, and I was like, no. And then Matt's all like, oh, what am I hearing? And then I'm like, no. And then you show the cops, and the cops are like, bro, if you say something, you're dead. Like, that's how I felt. And he's like, well, I've never seen him before. Like, my guy risked it all for you. But anyways, like,
Biscuit.
whatever. Karen's in San Francisco, don't even. I just genuinely thought that was great. And then he pulls out his biggest trump card, and he's like, he's White Tiger. And everyone's like, what? So then followed up by the scene where he's like, that wasn't your secret to tell. And then Matt's out here sounding like he's literally talking to himself and not Hector, but you could relate it to Hector. It was just, I would highly recommend if you
That
miss
scene
anything.
alone is like that. Oh, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that scene alone reminds me of the whole like you could show the Punisher and Daredevil rooftop scene in season 2 and not really have anything like spoil the rest of the show. This scene between White Tiger, or Hector, and Daredevil in that jail cell, I think it could be a clip just like that to show like Daredevil's philosophy and kind of him his first step into being born again.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think he still might have a lot more steps down to
100%.
go before he comes up. But even to parallel that, then you got really the why from Hector and his whole story and like the whole man of Puerto Rico. And like, I thought it was so cool for him to be like, the tourists think the sounds from the frogs are annoying. They're a nuisance, but for us, it's like the sound of the island. Which you draw the line to obviously the end when the credit scene rolls, bro. And that's the sound that they play. I just sat there, just silent. Just
so
silent.
fucked up. Man, I can't believe that ending. They really made you feel everything in that episode. Like, I can't wait for episode 4. I'm finally gonna get my biggest, what I've been hoping for all season. I hope. Punisher, baby, and that was not my Punisher at the end of the episode.
No, dude,
Yeah.
I'm convinced that was the cop. I'm convinced that was the cop.
It has to be.
I'm
I don't
convinced.
know, but there's no way Fisk hired him. There's no way.
I don't even
No.
know if it was Fisk that would have done it. I think that might have just been.
Oh, really? You don't think that was the like? I was thinking that he implied that he hired him.
Agree.
But I mean, that could be great. Just parallel filmmaking, I guess, or episode making.
I think that could be. I think there's a world where that could be just a very much like a parallel where Fisk is explaining what is to come, and that was more like a foreshadowing, but also a foreshadowing of like there are going to be people that are anti-vigilante, and there are going to be people that are going to be pro. And I think a lot of the police force, or maybe the new task force, or whatever this whole like Mark of the Punisher type of thing is, like that could be the symbol for like a vigilante resistance group or something along those lines. But that could be Fisk, told the commissioner and put someone. I don't know. We'll see what they do. I don't even sometimes want to like over speculate. I just want to go for the ride and see what they ultimately do. But I did want to ask you one thing about the episode, and I think we touched on it a little bit in Discord, of kind of the difference between the comics and like some of those panels and scenes in comparison to a full switch up. Because spoiler, for those of you who don't know and didn't read the comics, in the comics by Brian Michael Bendis, pretty much there's a guilty verdict. Manslaughter in the first degree, guilty. Hector Ayala has a moment where a gun slides to him after there's a scuffle. He picks the gun up. He runs to the steps of the courthouse. Cameras and everybody are out there, and then the police there. Guns are drawn, and blam, blam, blam. It's done. That's the end of Hector Ayala, White Tiger. However, what we saw in this episode was different. It was a not guilty verdict, and we heard his story, and we saw him messed up, and then he was taken out by someone. for you, is that like a pro that they kind of did an MCU switch up versus what the comics would have been? Because again, the lead up to it's different. Like they're just different things that go into both of these stories, similar characters and moments. But for you, does this prove for you that the MCU can kind of do their thing and use the source, and interpret it in their own way?
So, yeah, I think it does. I was actually surprised that the jury kind of still. I thought they weren't gonna like switch. I didn't know what that it was a guilty in the comic, so I genuinely had no idea what to expect going into it. But I still didn't think the jury would flip on it, just because of the still.
Did you think for a moment when the prosecutor was doing that final like closing argument that they were going to be like?
I thought he was gonna be manslaughter was still guilty, and that was gonna be the whole like first and second were not, but still just because someone died, I thought they were still gonna like do manslaughter. I need to get screwed a little bit with that.
And I would say if you guys have time, go to it's Daredevil 41, I think it is. I put it in Discord, I can't remember. 41 or 43, one of the 40s. There's a really cool part.
First. Sorry.
What? Oh, no, you're good. He's standing on the roof of the courthouse and he's listening to the jury deliberate. And so he's getting an idea. He knows what the verdict is going to be by listening to everyone state their case. And like there are people who are talking about like other heroes and stuff in New York where like one of the jurors is the mother of some drug dealer that Spider-Man busted. And she's like, nah, he's guilty because like forget vigilantes, forget mass heroes. Like they're ruining our lives. Like this is an example type of thing. So I thought that was going to be interesting. Like if they were to pull something like that over.
That would be cool.
Just to like,
I'm happy they didn't though, because it put me on that. Put me on the edge of the seat throughout the entire, as they were announcing the verdicts. I was so happy for him.
Yeah.
Now, man, I'm so sad though. I'm so happy. Yeah, so sad after. It sucks about it.
But I think that's just
I
goes.
really like to see more of them. And RIP to the actor in real life too.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Kind of reminded me of Chadwick Boseman in a lot of ways of like struggling through filming while you're sick and like doing such a job that people don't really know. Like they know something's up, but like they don't know you have cancer, which is, I mean, shout out to the strength from that. I think that adds like the real life stuff kind of adds more as we kind of go through this and watch the episode. But I do think it's a testament to the writing and the acting and just the story that they gave us to where we felt what we felt so quickly. We've seen White Tiger for what, an episode and change?
Yeah, like 2 episodes, 2.5.
We've never seen White Tiger before in the MCU. So, dude, the fact that like the job that Matt did, the cases that were laid out, just kind of the counter arguments to push you more in favor of Hector, and then his story when he's on the stand. No, dude, it crushed me when they're like, well, what were you doing that night? And they're like, he's like, dude, I got an apartment. I got a place. It's not big. We're living with my sister. Like he was just trying to live his dream with his family, but he's also out here protecting people at night. And you saw the strain that it put on the relationship with him and his wife. Dude, I felt so bad for the guy the whole time since we saw him on the platform from that first time.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So sad. But for those that don't know, we will be getting, I guess, maybe a season 2 spoiler, but I think there's a White Tiger is confirmed for season 2. The actor not the actress never got announced for it, but I think Marvel said it themselves that they were gonna have a variant or some White Tiger, probably a daughter, maybe his daughter. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, his daughter's young though, so that would have to be
multiverse.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember a lot of Jenna Ortega rumors at the time where
that's right.
Like,
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I
we'll
mean,
see.
she could age up. I don't know. I would say though, I think that, and I'm going to compare this to She-Hulk, and I don't want to compare to She-Hulk because for as much as I enjoyed the show, and I'm sorry, chat, I enjoyed the show. I think that you had people who had the settings but didn't have the substance, and they could have really elevated a lot of things that happened to
Mhm.
it. The court piece being huge, like the way that they've used that set piece is great. Like it feels like you're watching an episode of Law and Order, legitimately watching some sort of Law and Order. Shout out to Vincent D'Onofrio. But you had courtrooms and you had characters and enhanced individuals and superheroes and villains and stuff like that in She-Hulk, but it felt very gimmicky to me in a lot of ways. Whereas I never once batted an eye at Matt Murdock saying, that guy in the stands, he's a regular guy, but guess what? He has an amulet that gives him powers and he runs around at night saving people. Bro, I never thought
I would have never. I would have never thought I heard that in a courtroom.
No, but you know what I'm saying? But like the way that it was presented and the way the show has been done in the world that they're building, I never thought twice about it until thinking about recapping the episode. Where I'm like, bro, we live in an MCU where this is just every day. And the amount of testimonials about people in New York City that are like, Daredevil, got it. Oh, Bullseye, pfft, no problem. White Tiger, yeah, he saved me. Sure. Punisher, people know about him. Like these street level heroes and characters, whether they are mystical or just got their powers by circumstance, they don't feel like misfits. And that was, I think, one of the biggest things that we were wondering going into the show of like, how do they present that? How does Daredevil fit in that world? How does Fisk use that? I think it's, dude,
It was very well done. It makes you want more street level
100%.
and
100%.
just like I would like to see these guys interject into like Spider-Man movie and Spider-Man with a street level type story. 100, like I mean, it's something we always ask for instead of all the multiverse stuff. But like, if they could do this, what they're doing in a TV show, I trust them in the movie level.
Yeah, it does. It does give me concerns about like the cohesive feel of New York City, especially when we get Thunderbolts.
That's true. That's gonna be an interesting difference.
Yeah, it could feel close. I'll be very curious of how they portray it. And I do have to say, if I had to add one thing, and I'm curious of what you would add, so far to this show, I think because they're world building Daredevil's portion of the MCU so fast and so well, that's making it like must see, must know. I kind of wish to this point, and I know, shout out Dill, we got some name drops. We got some name drops. I wish they would drop some more heroes.
Yeah, kind of like what Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man did, like where they had Iron Man randomly come in and save that dude or take up Doc Ock.
Yep.
I think it would be cool to just get like a hero, but I mean, we like not many heroes out there. Like, the Avengers are all spread out, and that there is no Avengers. Actually, you just got Brave New World that
Right.
still got to form them, and Thunderbolts even saying MIA. But I don't know, like how many really big heroes they could really do. Moon Knight, yeah, Moon Knight would be cool, obviously.
Tell me
Our
you didn't get.
big
Oh,
Our
go ahead.
big
Go ahead.
theory during I remember rewatching our video from last year of our Born Again initial like predictions or previews. Was big on us wanting Moon Knight in there. Because who doesn't want Moon Knight in there? And fun fact,
Dude,
I rewatched Moon Knight episode 1 and 2 last night just because why not? They're so good.
dude. We need to do like a case study on why people don't like Moon Knight and why it's like a mid-tier MCU show. Because I
don't
still
get
to
it.
this day think it's like one
It's
of the
really
best.
cool how they portray everything.
It's super cool. But didn't you get kind of Moon Knight vibes when they were talking about White Tiger and like helping people during the night, and this is all the stuff he does. And I'm like, bro, just look up. You see
Yeah.
that moon? It's about to haunt you. Just keep looking. Don't worry. You're gonna get the fist of Conchu right on your forehead. 200 damage.
Oh,
But
moon haunts.
yeah, I think it would be cool to reference some of those things somewhere or another. I
think they should definitely do more references. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it may come.
I think
And
season 2 will have a lot more now that they kind of have like
yeah,
a sense
yeah,
of where
yeah,
everything is with the MCU at the
yeah.
moment versus when the show was being made was very everything up in the air and just the overhaul we went through too. Crazy to think about.
I think it'd be pretty sick to see them kind of open up the floodgates a little more, like especially via Fisk, and just start rounding up like characters that were like, what? I didn't know you were
Yeah.
in the MCU. Like,
Imagine how many people would freaking just hop onto the show too after seeing
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
stuff online about it.
I would geek. I'm going to tell you this right now. I would go absolutely bananas if my guy Fisk is sitting in the New York mayor's office and we get Bullseye who walks in
Oh my god.
in an accurate suit and Sam Wilson's on the TV and he's like, get him out. Dude, something like that, I would flip TVs. I'd
That would
flip
be
TVs.
nuts. That would be insane.
Like he sends him on an assassination mission or something like that to like for like a
Oh
bigger
my
name character.
god. I mean, like, kind of like what, kind of reminds me of the, was it Black Widow? Yeah, Black Widow post-credit scene when Val gave Yelena the Hawkeye orders, but, like, times that by, like, Fisk's might. Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be beautiful.
And knowing that like that hero is most likely not going to flip the character when they have a conversation
Bullseye
about like,
versus Cap would be crazy.
did you know? Yeah. Bro,
I need more Bullseye. That's what the show needs more of.
give me
It's gonna
more
happen.
Bullseye. And I mean, Matt Murdock representing a vigilante with split personality disorder in court would be top tier content. Yes. Please sign me up. Jake Lockley, you may now take the stand. And then we get a British accent of just Mark or Stephen Grant. Later, just gotta go. Sorry. Oh, dude, that'd be funny. And then he hears Conchu. Matt hears Conchu talking. No, I'm just kidding. I'm getting wild now. Final thought for episode 3 Spider-Man now.
I would give it a 9.0 rating.
Ooh.
I gave 1 and 2 a 9 and a 9.1 and a 9.2 and 9.1, and this is a 9. I really liked it. I think I am just excited for 4 and 5. This is one of those episodes that is very good, but then it's just like what it sets up for the next 2 episodes or the rest of the season. I need it right now. I need more Punisher in my life.
Yeah. I mean, the show for me has been a 10 out of 10. If I were to give it like a grade, I would say 9. However, if someone asked me like, what else does this need? I'd be like, nothing. It doesn't need anything. And that's why I say 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, we're on episode 3, so yeah.
You know what I mean? Like each episode has been really, really strong, in my opinion, and given us a lot of highlight moments. But my answer can't always be like more action. Like you need to build up to it, which I will say recently, I think the MCU from Brave New World, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and even Born Again through 3 episodes, they've done a really, really, really good job, in my opinion, of building the story and withholding things that you really want to see that you know are coming. And the anticipation builds and builds. And it's been, so far, I think it's been pretty good for the former 2. So we'll see. But stay tuned. Next Wednesday, episode 4 review, or maybe 4 and 5. I don't know if it's a double thing. But we're going to be talking about more Daredevil next week. But now, we're going to switch gears real quick. And we're going to give you our thoughts on Phase 4 for an MCU redo. What would we at the Point 2 current podcast have done to make Phase 4 feel
Oh,
good during the time and then also again in the future to set up what we have going on now? Spider Brando, do we want to quickly recap the projects that were in Phase 4?
so in phase 4, we have. Wait, I don't know where my tab went. I have to do everything on my phone because of the stupid computer. We got WandaVision, Falcon and
2021.
Winter Soldier. There's a lot in this list, so bear with me.
Yeah.
WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Hawkeye, Spider-Man No Way Home,
Did you say Loki?
Moon Knight. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
I
they
did
probably
say
put it
Loki.
at the end.
Actually, no, I did say Loki.
Okay.
Moon Knight, Multiverse of Madness, Miss Marvel, Thor, Love and Thunder, I Am Groot, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, my favorite, WBN, Werewolf by Night. Not actually my favorite, but go watch all of our videos to understand. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special to wrap up Phase 4. And this is spanning from January 15th, 2021 to November 25th, 2022 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 projects, matching almost what the whole Infinity Saga did on its own in one phase.
3,279 minutes of runtime in this
That's
phase.
crazy. I've actually rewatched a lot of Phase 4 recently, even before we had this whole Phase 4 redo plan, and I think it has a lot of freaking hate against it. I'm really excited to get into it.
I always look back on this and I look at these projects and I'm like, TV shows alone, great phase. WandaVision, top.
Good.
Loki, game changer. What if season 1, by the way, was highly rated, like a 9 something across most
Everybody was
platforms?
talking about Infinity Ultron back then.
Yeah, that was great. You have fans of Hawkeye, you have fans of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Moon Knight fans, and then you get into which 2 projects plus 1 that I think people overhate, and it casted such a negative shadow on this phase, and that's Miss Marvel, I Am Groot, and She-Hulk. Those 3 projects alone, people are like, MCU's dead. Again, of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And Eternals. A lot of you are right, Eternals.
Well, I was just saying TV shows specifically.
Oh, sorry.
But that's only 3 of 8 shows. Majority of the shows are pretty good and highly rated for the most part. But to your point, Spider Brando, post-COVID, by the way, we're talking like lockdown still at this point. Like when WandaVision came, I'm pretty sure it was still like mass up. Black Widow, okay. Shang-Chi. I think most people would say that's a pretty good movie.
I rewatched that movie night on Monday night in Discord.
Spider-Man No Way Home. I wonder if that was a good movie.
Trash. Just
terrible. The biggest non-Avengers movie in the MCU? I believe so. Then you have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which people loved around the time. And if you didn't love it, I beg to differ because TikTok was all about Con La Brisa and everyone had that sound in every single video that they did for a very long time. But yeah, you had your Black Widow, Eternals, which is for whatever reason was hated on off the jump. I thought it was a really good movie. I thought it was a really good movie. But it got hate. Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness got hate. Thor, Love and Thunder got hate. Majority of the films were positively received, had really good ratings. So I sit here and I ask you, chat and Spider Brando, is Phase 4 a failure when majority of the films were good films according to us, the audience, and when majority of the TV shows were considered good by us, the audience, why is Phase 4 considered a failure before we get into the redo?
Because it didn't have Endgame and Infinity War and like ending of Phase 3 level hype of like one, theater experiences, and two, just like moments or connectivities. My biggest advocate for why Phase 4 is not bad, because they had to start over. Like, we're starting new storylines. Obviously, not everything is going to connect to every single movie, and every breadcrumb is going to connect to every single breadcrumb. And now, 4 years later, finally, post-COVID, post-writer strike, post-Kang and Jonathan Majors the fallout, we're finally getting back to like a good timeline again from everything that was getting delayed, pushed back, and able to be cohesive. Like Eternals finally got somewhat some light showed upon it with Brave New World going to Celestial Island. With Thunderbolts in 2 months, we get Yelena continued from Black Widow and Hawkeye storyline that got introduced way back then. You're talking about like Black Widow literally set up the Hawkeye show, and people are like, "Oh, or not a Hawkeye show, but set up an element in the Hawkeye show with Yelena going into there." And people are like, "Oh, nothing connects. What do you mean?" Like, it pisses me off. And now we get Red Guardian back from the Black Widow movie, and on top of that, Ghost from Ant-Man 2 from 2018 gets to come back. Taskmaster gets to come back. Bucky gets to come back from Brave New World, the little appearance, and the last time we saw him in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, they had to lay the groundwork before they could start putting in some breadcrumbs everywhere and start connecting stuff. Now, sure, there is a lot of stuff that is random, and I 100% do understand that, but a majority of it, I feel like I said that weird, um, did set up some cool groundworks. After I rewatched Shang-Chi, I was like, man, when is this post-credit scene gonna pay off? And like, why was Abomination and Wong in there? So that's an example of who knows when. But for a majority of it, it's not as like it's not as not interconnected as people made it out to be. And
Yeah.
people expected it to be too interconnected way too much. Like, obviously, they can't introduce a whole team of Eternals and be like, "Oh yeah, they like know the Avengers." It wouldn't make any sense. They gotta at least build the freaking groundwork first and go from there. I really enjoyed Eternals. I'm yapping right now, but I showed my friend Eternals and Black Widow for his first time the other day. He's been MIA from most MCU Marvel stuff for years, just from being in the military. So being able to experience his like reactions to them now after hearing all the rumors or just hearing all the crap about them, and him coming to me and saying like, "Yo, those are good movies. I don't really understand all the hate and like expectations for it. Um like why they were so bad." And this was after Black Widow and Eternals, if I didn't clarify that. I still have a
Yeah.
lot to go with them. But he watched Shang-Chi and he liked that. I saw No Way Home with him in theaters and very big fans of that. And then he saw Multiverse of Madness and I forgot his opinion on it. But like, they're not bad movies. They're really not bad quality movies
No. And it's funny you
or
say that.
shows.
Right. And it's funny you say that because it's like, well, what kind of stretch did they have? Like, did we put together, I'll say like 3 or more. I feel like you need 3 or more projects in a row for people to like feel good. Oh yeah. Monumental Comics episode 3
Welcome
was
in, welcome in.
very dope. Very dope. We talked about Daredevil Born Again. Before this, we're currently talking about MC redo of Phase 4. Kind of tying that in, but I mean, if you look at it, I think the strongest run that they had probably was No Way Home into Moon Knight into the Multiverse of Madness. But for the
Yeah,
most, but you didn't really have like, all
they
right,
didn't
one,
have a lot of good stretches, unfortunately. I mean, the TV show kickoff was pretty good with WandaVision, Falcon, and Loki.
I agree. But then I think you had like that drop in Black Widow. I think right off the bat that was like too little, too late, and people just weren't really in it. And then What If with being animated, a lot of people didn't adopt it. And then you get Shang-Chi again, and you're like, okay. And then you get Eternals, and you're like, hit or miss. Hawkeye, hit or miss. Then you have a banger in No Way Home. Then you have Moon Knight, which is more hit than miss, but still not, universally accepted as one of the better shows. And then you have Multiverse of Madness. Made tons of money, but I think probably one of our better examples of trailer bait, if you will, in terms of characters they tried to bring in. Anyways, with all that being said, looking at this list and kind of understanding to where people feel really mixed, even though we think that it's more good than bad, what would you have changed before we change the projects? But like, what would you have put in order? What would you have moved around if you could have to make people feel that this phase was a better phase, or what could have set the groundwork before people started to catch on that like, hey, this isn't the Infinity Saga. We don't really know what saga this is.
So, in a perfect world where COVID and the writer strike didn't delay these projects or have any interference, obviously we know the original Phase 4 timeline was much different and probably would have been a lot of what I'm going to propose. But I think Eternal should have been not even a Phase 4 movie, and that should have been Phase 5. And with how everything else was,
Ooh.
they could have just put it out there because I don't know. Actually, when you take all the delays outside, it would probably make sense for Phase 4 for it to stay Phase 4. I would have not put it so early at Phase 4 though. Kind of more on the later side.
You know what's funny about Eternals? In my head, I would have made that the start of Phase 4.
Really?
Well, the whole reason why I think I would have
Yeah.
is because it did kind of take place after the events of Endgame with the snap and then the convergence.
That makes
However,
sense. Yeah.
I think that would have made sense, but because we know that the follow-up really didn't happen, I'm with you. I probably would have put it closer to Brave New World. So I agree with you. My gut says do it as like kind of the bridge to be like, oh my gosh, like they're actually following up on phase whatever. But I kind of think that they did well with WandaVision with that though, especially through Monica's eyes.
I think WandaVision starts Phase 1 pretty well, or not Phase 1. Phase 4 pretty well.
Okay.
But looking at it, I know the original plan. It's so hard because the original plan is really what I would have freaking wanted. Their original phase timeline was so good. Like WandaVision was supposed to come out, and then 2 to 3 weeks later, like a month later, would have been Multiverse of Madness. And then a couple months after that, like No Way Home. Like that huge stretch of storylines would have been great to see on its own. And like that would have been like a boom, boom, boom of stretch to replicate that this phase really suffered from all the delays. Putting Loki and Shang-Chi together would have been actually they were pretty close to each
They're
other
close.
with June and September. So I think that was good. I would have liked to see Cap 4 be a Phase 4 movie and tie
end it?
into to end it after Winter Soldier not started it, but I would have kept Winter Soldier where the show Falcon and Winter Soldier at its where it came out second, and then end it with Cap Phase 4. not Cap Phase 4, Cap 4 to end Phase 4.
No, dude, I agree with you because I think two things that would have really helped that you said were
Holiday special though is perfect because it's
yeah,
legit holiday special, but
yeah,
that doesn't count.
yeah.
I mean, it does count, but like truly ranking ending wise, I'm not counting that as like the end to Phase 4, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I personally like the WandaVision to No Way Home to Multiverse of Madness piece from a Strange perspective. I think that was a good flow. But in there, I probably would have done, to your point, I would have done Shang-Chi and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I think the biggest addition to this
Yeah.
all would have been at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier into Brave New World. Sam is going through and assembling a team. Because I think then you get like your random one off shows that would have felt better, like a Moon Knight. Could he be recruited? Who knows? Hawkeye, is he going to do some recruiting? Who knows? That's going to be street level. Tie in the Daredevil, like those breadcrumbs that they left in these shows, I think could stay. Same thing with like a Miss Marvel, that for sure could stay. She-Hulk, if they would have done some more things to make it address like the overall MCU piece, I think would have been great. And to be honest with you, I think what they should have done to end this phase is ended it. And I know, excuse me, that would have been easy to do with everything that happened. But you either end the phase with Thor, Love, and Thunder, or you end it with Wakanda Forever being a huge team up movie. And I think Thor, Love, and Thunder would have been better. But I think you could have done like, you have your Brave New World, you have your team up stuff. Obviously, Eternals could have come before that.
I
But
got
like,
something.
go ahead,
What would
go
have
ahead.
been really good? I think the perfect team up for Love and Thunder would have been having Captain Marvel appearance
Oh,
throughout the
100%.
cosmos and everything, and then boom, that would have kind of filled in the gaps of what she's been doing. To one, we'd get Miss Marvel to tease her love for Captain Marvel throughout this phase, and then tie that into closer to where Thor comes out. I mean, I know Miss Marvel and Thor came out after each other, but have Captain Marvel in Thor. Honestly, I would say have Captain Marvel and Thor over the Guardians appearance, just to kind of end more, and then have them get that little chemistry going, even though their whole press tour for Infinity War wasn't too much chemistry with the actors. With the actors. I just think that would have been better to kind of lead Carol off into the Marvels and have a better like boom boom.
I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think subbing them, the Guardians, with Carol would have been good. I also think it would have been smart if you would have played like, I think you could have played two things up of like building conflicts, right? We go back to kind of what we were talking about Daredevil Born Again. One thing that's missing from here are like overarching conflicts that make these heroes have like a call to type of action. Namor saying, there's a celestial in my waters. My people are affected by this. You can pull the Eternals in. You can still have your conflict with Wakanda. You can have Ross, who's like, we need vibranium, we have adamantium. We're going through the process of harvesting things from the celestial that's in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of those pieces, they could have told these stories in a little bit better of a way. And I still, to this day, think if they would have ended this phase with Thor, Love, and Thunder and done like a god war in Omnipotent City or whatever that it's called between Zeus and Thor, you get Bass, you get the god that's Namor's god from Telecon, you get Khonshu, you get the Egyptian gods. Like, you do that to kind of sprinkle, you get the tiger gods or whoever it might be, to like even up a white tiger or something along those lines. You just build out more of like the space and mystical aspect of it, and then use Wakanda Forever to build out more of the ground conflicts to piggyback off of both Cap show and movie. And then by the end of that, we're like, yeah, we need a team. Like, Cap at the end of this is like, Thor, are you going to be on the squad? He's like, no, I'm good. Sure, you going to be on the squad? Sure. Like that kind of stuff should have been a true post-credit scene. I'm sorry if Anthony Mackie can't be in multiple places a year. Like that's kind of wild to me. But that all being said, I think looking at this list, I wouldn't wholeheartedly delete a lot of things. I just would reshuffle it again in a perfect world, like you were saying, and just make the movies that came before them matter more on a greater MCU scale, period.
I want to find the original Phase 4 timeline just to
The Inhumans. No, I'm just kidding.
see. Oh, God. Yeah, we need more of those. So, original Phase 4 timeline was Black Widow in May 2020, Falcon Winter Soldier fall 2020, Eternals in November 2020, Shang-Chi February 2021, WandaVision spring 2021, Multiverse of Madness May 2021,
Might have been nice.
Loki spring 2021, What If summer 2021, Hawkeye fall 2021, and Thor Love and Thunder would have ended it November 2021.
I kind of agree with Thor at the end. I think Thor at the end would have been really, really good. They could have made that huge. And like, bro, I don't think it would have been a saga bad in this. And to be honest with you, I think the whole thing would have been scroll related throughout these movies, especially in Wakanda Forever. Like, especially in Wakanda Forever.
Oh,
I still think that's one of the biggest misses of all the MCU. Like, that's like a top 5 for me. But Gore the God Butcher going after, dude, I'm sorry, but you could have pulled in some other heroes. Just saying. Decent list though, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy how much they had to change.
Yeah.
And everything, but I think they're correcting a lot of actions. Another good thing I do like about the phase though, or one thing that they did try to do, I guess critique wise, is I liked that they tried to make they gave a lot of different styles to
For
their
sure.
projects,
For
which is
sure.
really cool. But
I mean,
unfortunately, it just couldn't appeal to every demographic, which
to that point, listen to the directors on this. You had Destin Daniel Cretton, Chloe Zhao, John Watts, Sam Raimi, Taika Waititi, and Ryan Coogler. Like, if I were to give you those 5 people and say, like, they're going to direct a future Marvel movie, I guarantee you the internet would be like, oh my gosh, the MCU is so back.
mm-hmm.
But half of them didn't even get a chance.
I was doing a little research on some people that hate, like, some critiques on Phase 4, and they brought up the directors and how they're, like, not familiar, how none of them were really familiar with making, like, superhero movies and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's, I don't know. Kind of, it's hard to say because I thought they were good. But
I mean, Kate Shortland and Chloe Zhao, okay. But Destin Daniel Cretton put out a banger in Shang-Chi. John Watts was on his 3rd Spider-Man movie. Taika Waititi was on his 2nd. Sam Raimi came back after that whole nightmare with Multiverse of Madness, which, by the way, ended up being okay after the nonsense that happened with a script and directors.
They meant for the TV shows also. A lot of I think the TV show directors, it was that comment was aimed at.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
I don't know. I still thought like they did its job well to portray to the audiences that they were targeting.
I still think the
people expect every show to be like, oh, like I have to be obsessed with this because it's Marvel. But like, you don't have to. Like, I straight up told my friend, as terrible as this sounds, I should have told him not to pay attention to certain Phase 4 shows just because I know he's absolutely not going to enjoy them whatsoever, which sucks to say, but it's just sometimes you know when people are gonna like stuff and when they're not gonna like stuff.
For sure. And I mean, phase 4 definitely introduced more diverse storytelling, but the interesting contradicting thing is you still go back and forth with hearing people say, I want more self-contained shows. And then you have people who are like, I want more greater MCU storylines to be the focal point of these shows. Like they need to connect. But then you don't want them to connect because you don't want to do all the homework. But because stuff hasn't been connecting, we're like, oh my gosh, why isn't this connecting?
You don't know
And
what
here
we
we are.
want.
Yeah, like 4 years later, it's like it's just we're going in circles and circles and circles, which is why very true. You cannot please everyone. But I do think that like a show like Daredevil, Born Again, has those elements to bring like a lot of the subset of fans together to give you something you want throughout the course of the series. If you're not someone who can watch it week by week, I get it. Markham, you hate Daredevil, bro. I don't know. I'll use a different example. Wait, nothing is good in the MCU right now. I can't. I don't know. Long story short, I think when we say we're doing the MCU redo, I think that we probably connect a few more of the projects together, obviously. But in the end, it should have probably ended with a bigger event level movie versus just being like, hey, we're in phase 5 now. And we're like, are we still doing phases? Like, is they calling it phase 6? Are we in phase 6? I don't know what this is right now. So I think people like
Right. I
endings
actually didn't even think about that.
and beginnings. You know, they're just like, oh, phase 3 is so good, which phase 3 was fantastic. Phase 4, it was just a lot.
I was trying to explain phases to my coworker today because he asked what I was doing tonight, and I went on a huge TED talk about like everything we're talking about. And
Yeah.
he started asking, he's like, "So what are phases?" And I'm like, "Well, they're like overarching stories, and like they usually end with Avengers movies, and then I guess a phase 4 just because like they're doing the redo tonight." And I'm like, "Well, you know, like, it didn't really have like an end. It just kind of like went into Quantumania, and like the story was like starting up from scratch again, and that's why
Yeah.
everybody doesn't like it because it's like
Yeah.
not as connected as the others are."
Okay,
But
last question I have to that point though, real quick. Would you have split phase 4 up into a phase 4 and phase 5? And if so, what would have been the movie or show that ended each part, given what we got?
mm, if I had, oh, I need to look at the list again. I feel like I would split it up into the two different aspects. I would put like Loki, What If, Eternals, and Thor as kind of like have like more like the out there cosmic type. I know Eternals is on Earth, but like they're Eternals. Put the more like out there stuff out there, and like the more I know like Wanda is not street level or like Multiverse Madness. That's another one I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I would split it up between there, you could have Wanda end and Strange begin. Or no, not even end or begin. Just have them in different phases.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I wouldn't split it up like that. Now, the more I think about it, I don't like that idea.
Dude,
At least my way of trying to do it, like a cosmic versus Earth side, because it's not working out too well. The more I think about it,
I think I just would have split the years. No joke. 2021, I would have ended the phase with No Way Home and maybe tweaked a couple things with the movie, but I would have had
yeah,
that be like your big phase ending movie. And then for 2022, I would have used Thor Love and Thunder or Wakanda Forever as like the big ender. Because, dude, even think about. Say again.
You would keep. Where would you put Multiverse Madness in that?
maybe have it be the first movie. I would keep it as a summer blockbuster, to be honest with you. I probably would have whatever phase it would be. I would have it be my summer movie. I just would have changed things that they didn't like. If we did one redo and I could only do one project, period, it would be Multiverse of Madness, because I think that's the first thing that nerfed the whole concept for people, period. Like, it left such a bad taste in people's mouth to be like, so we just get more variants and the MacGuffins do nothing, and our main girl is the main villain, but she's not the villain, but she kind of is. And then we're just like, forget about other Earths. We don't need to revisit those, even though they're sweet. Like, there's just so many things left untouched. And then Strange is like, my eye, let's go. And we just move on from there. It's like, still good, but I think still questionable. I think it could have been huge in terms of, you should have done an incursion. I'm sorry. Looking back on this,
Multiverse of Madness. There should have been more madness.
Yeah.
Especially, Dave, remember, big thing Raimi marketed it as how it was going to be like Marvel's first like horror elemental movie. Like, where the fuck was any of that? Excuse my
French.
F word. Where was I wasn't what a dead zombie strange scary.
No, dude, it's the Wanda.
I didn't see a single element. Yeah, I guess then they talk about the Wanda and
the Rivals MVP.
It's not horror. It's just like one shot, like two shots of horror-esque scenes. So that pissed me off a little bit because I was expecting Marvel to really take it in like a cool, different style than they really did. I enjoyed the movie, but it should have had more stakes in it and more cohesive with WandaVision.
Yeah. And I think that should have easily been a direct tie-in to What If Season 1, which probably has done the multiverse the best in that phase, period. I think that was a huge missed opportunity for Strange Supreme Strange, whatever you want to call him, to like make an appearance and like set that up, because I think everyone was kind of like clamoring for that to be like, sweet. Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's a Strange from What If, and it's like, no, it's just some Supreme Strange.
Yeah. There's some, like, COVID aside and actors' schedules aside and directing and recasting and all that kind of stuff and reshoots. I think the reshoot pandemic, no pun intended, was like hot for a lot of these projects. Just give people what you want. Strange. I think Strange was huge during this time to show up in more projects than he showed up in. So I don't know. I still think it's a good phase overall. I just think at the end of the day, they could have sprinkled in some things that we came to know and love, again, from the Infinity Saga to make us be like, oh, I get it. That actually is relevant to this, even though in our headcanon we still do it. And they're figuring it out 4 years later, like you said in the beginning. So could have been good. It could have been great. It could have been great. It could have been great. And there were some great parts, but
could have been better. Overall, though, what would you give Phase 4 as a rating?
I personally would give it, I'd probably give it like an 8.4 out of 10 personally.
Okay.
I liked pretty much everything in there. Like, TV shows were fantastic. Again, I'm someone who liked Miss Marvel. I liked She-Hulk, so I don't dock it from that perspective. I did not like Hawkeye, but I think Hawkeye was a fair mid-grade. I didn't love Love and Thunder. I thought I Am Groot Season 1 was good and interesting. Werewolf by Night was great. The holiday special for Guardians is great. Some of my favorite movies and moments are in here. I think the best speedster we've ever gotten in superhero cinema was in Eternals and Makari. And I'm so sad we haven't seen Makari again, but dude, the movie was awesome. It was like the best DCU movie, the best DC movie Marvel ever made.
Well, one of my friends' comment during that movie was about how they just like he straight up said, he's like, "Damn, Marvel just what they just they just saw DC and just shit on them."
Yeah.
And I remember saying that myself after the movie. I was like, "Yo, that's crazy. They just did a whole like Superman guy, Flash guy. It's amazing."
Yeah.
Hi, Barzy. Welcome in. Phase 4 gets a good 8 out of 10. I would agree.
You going 8 out of 10?
I would say 8 out of 10, yeah. I don't feel like decimal pointing it this time, even though I'm the one that always decimal points everything.
Dude, the decimals are a feeling of like, it's not that, but it's not this. It's somewhere in
Yeah.
between. So it's
Yep.
like, yeah, I like the decimals.
Mhm. Well, do you have anything else to say about Phase 4?
No, I mean, I think we could spend a lot more time on this because it's so packed with thousands of hours of content.
I feel like
in this,
every project could get its own redo,
for sure. And at some
which
point,
we have done
yeah,
a Multiverse of Madness redo already.
yeah. Um, well, we'll probably revisit everything post Phase 4 before the year's done. I think I think Thunderbolts is a big thing for us that
They're
we
all
need to
starting to get
see.
old now of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
rewatchable territory.
yeah, for sure. So we'll see. We'll see how
Yeah.
some things age. But no, that's all I got.
Well, thank you all for coming to another episode of Point 3 Podcast. Tomorrow night, Invincible Season 3 finale in Discord. Don't forget it. Link is in our bio. And we will be watching and we will be reviewing video probably next week about the review of Season 3 entirely. And Morgan, sorry, I missed pointing out that Daredevil sucks. I wish you were here for it because I told you to come prepared with the bullet points, and you did not. But you know where you could put those bullet points in Discord. Once again, I'm doing another.
That is not what I was expecting you to say. I did not know Discord was coming. Dude, I was about to put you on mute and like bleep it out. Unbelievable. Morgan, we'll talk about Matt Murdock versus Mark Scumbag in Discord if you want to battle it out.
Yep. But yeah, thank you all for coming. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, leave a comment, share your thoughts on what you would change differently on Phase 4. Share your thoughts what you liked about Daredevil or didn't like about Daredevil so far. And I don't really know what else to say in this outro because it's been so long since I did one. So
Three
I hope
important
you
things.
guys all had a great night. And 3 most important things that you got to keep doing is to keep watching, keep reading, and keep nerding out till next week. And that's it.